Welcome, folks, to CryptoNews Global. I'm your host, Nick Toka. Bitcoin moving a bit sideways today, down about 2% along with the whole market. On today's show, we are going to discuss Michael Saylor's new put, buying 3,459 new Bitcoin to add to the value of the firm's BTC stash, currently $45,296,000,000. Also, corporate BTC buying surges in quarter one despite market correction, and Bitcoin indicator flashing bullish for the first time in 18 weeks, says Analyst who called the May 2021 crypto collapse. Might have something good to say. All this and so much more on today's show. Welcome, folks, to CryptoNews Global. I'm your host, Nick Toka. Welcome to episode 100. Today is April 15th, 2025, halfway through the month. And Bitcoin down about 1.71%. We've got some good bullish stories for you today, despite what's going on in the market. Let's get right into a Bitcoin technical analysis and see what we can figure out. Currently, Bitcoin at $83,611. Ethereum down 2.25%, $15.97. Solana 3% down, $126. XRP down 2%, $2.09. Cardano down 3.5%, 61 cents. Doge down 3%, 15 cents even. CryptoNews bubble shows us today we are about 75% in the red, with the exception of Ohm, who tanked. Mantra, that tanked 90% for the month and 87% for the week, up 30% today. What's going on there? Careful with the shitcoinery, folks. I keep saying it. DEX up 11%, Core up 6%, IP up 7%. Most other things in the red, including Jasmy down 8%, Pi down 16%, Move down 10%. Zooming out to the weekly, we have XCN up 121%, along with 90% of the cryptos. Fartcoin up 64%, Jasmy up 44%. Ray up 32%, Hype up 27%. Zooming out to the monthly, we have about a 70-30 split between the red over the green. Fartcorn up 183% for the month. XCN up 50% for the month. Taking a look at the total hash rate, mining hash rate, we were over 100 billion terahash at one point this week. We're still very, very close to that mark. And as we've seen in the past, the Bitcoin price does follow the hash rate. So as we see the hash rate up, we should also see the Bitcoin starting to rise here. And if we really go out to the beginning, we'll see for the most part the price follows the hash, as we see from 2013 on. We see the pattern of the black being the Bitcoin price, the blue being the total hash rate, very, very closely aligned. There was a small point in 2021 at the market cycle peak where the Bitcoin price far surpassed the hash rate. So that should tell us something too. I mean, the price is going to have to pump from where we're at. If we zoom out a bit to a closer view where there's a big divergence between the hash rate right now in blue and the Bitcoin price. So this should start to get closer together, and we should see the Bitcoin price pumping, baby. Another closely followed indicator is the M2 global money supply, and we see this is even a closer indicator and line to the Bitcoin price and the M2 money supply. And right now I am anticipating, it's a known thing that the M2 money supply in pink shown here is going to peak quite a bit this year. So I also anticipate that the Bitcoin price is going to follow. Current Bitcoin market cap is $1.66 trillion. Ethereum, 193 billion bucks. Ethereum, 122 billion. Solana, 65 billion. Tron, 24 billion. Doge, 23 billion. Cardano, 21.7 billion. Total crypto market cap sitting at $2.61 trillion, with Bitcoin holding 63.75% of that, Ethereum 7.1%, and XRP 4.7%. Crypto Fear and Greed Index shows us we are currently in a 29 in fear. Yesterday was a 38 in fear, and last week was a 18 in extreme fear. There's 1,092 days left until the next Bitcoin halving in 2028. That equals to 157,393,000 blocks until the next Bitcoin halving, which should happen approximately April or so of 2028. Total market cap by assets. Gold has finally gotten over the $22 trillion mark. Insane, exactly $22 trillion. Apple, $3 trillion. Microsoft, $2.8 trillion. Nvidia, $2.7 trillion. Google, $1.9 trillion. Amazon, $1.9. Silver, $1.8 trillion. Saudi Aramco, $1.664 trillion. Bitcoin, $1.656 trillion. And Meta, $1.3 trillion bucks. You can currently get 1,196 Satoshis for 1 fiat US dollar. The current U.S. national debt is sitting at $36,730 billion, equaling $107,363 per U.S. citizen, or $323,049 per U.S. taxpayer. Doge has saved U.S. taxpayers $322 billion so far, up over very close to $70 since yesterday per taxpayer. They have saved $2,868 just in the 3 months that they've kind of taken the reins under the fellowship of the Trump. So big savings on Doge, big spending on the US dollar, big spending everywhere around the world. We're going to start seeing that M2 money supply jack up in printing, and once we do, we're going to see that Bitcoin price pumping like a mofo. Someone who doesn't care if the price is up and down and who thinks the price is going up forever, Laura, and I believe him, Mr. Michael Saylor and Strategy. So he acquired yesterday 3,459 more Bitcoin, as the value of his firm's Bitcoin stash now sits at $45,296,000,000. Strategy, MicroStrategy, back at it again with another Bitcoin buying spree. According to former CEO and founder Michael Saylor, the world's largest corporate holder of Bitcoin is buying up even more of the flagship crypto. MicroStrategy has acquired 3,459 new Bitcoin for $285 million at 82,618 per Bitcoin, and has achieved a Bitcoin yield of 11.4% year to date. As of April 13th, Strategy holds 531,644 Bitcoin acquired for approximately $35.92 billion at the average price of $67.5 million per Bitcoin. Yeah. So it's not the first time Strategy has increased its Bitcoin holding in 2025. In early January, MicroStrategy announced it was looking to accumulate more of the top crypto asset cap in 2025 to strengthen its position in the market. So they just bought, let's just drop another 285 million bucks, right? So good for them. This is good news. When the buying spree is up, the Bitcoin market on a whole is also up, I find. The corporate buying in quarter one for the Bitcoin is also way up, despite the market correction in the first quarter. Corporations have been loading up on Bitcoin at the fastest rate on record during the first 3 months of the year. Yeah, you see, they know what they're doing. Everybody else, all the common folk are selling, scared out of their pants, and the companies are like, no, we're getting it at this low price. Public companies have scooped up 95,431 Bitcoin in the first quarter of 2025, the highest ever amount for a 3-month period, reported asset manager Bitwise on April 14th. This brought the total Bitcoin holding for corporations to 688,000, representing around 3.3% of the total Bitcoin supply. Additionally, this represents a 16% increase from the previous quarter, which was also a big one for Bitcoin accumulation. In quarter one, 2025 saw an increase of 18% in Bitcoin buying, with 12 new companies investing in the asset over the period, bringing a total number of corporate BTC investors to 79. So there is the chart with the proof as per Bitwise. Strategy, of course, leads the pack with 531,000 total Bitcoin. With its most recent purchase we just went over, 3,459 Bitcoin. Mara Holding is the second largest corporation with 47,531 Bitcoin, or around 7% of the total. This is the total of corporate buyers as of March 31st. Riot Platform and CleanSpark were the third and fourth with 2.8 and 1.7% of the total share of corporate Bitcoin holdings. Japanese Bitcoin investment firm Metaplanet also bought the dip this week with a purchase of 319 Bitcoin. We went over that. BTC price outlook. Bitcoin price gained 1.6% on the day. Well, it's down now, but it was up a little bit earlier in the day. Intraday high of 85,750 during the Tuesday morning Asian trading session. The asset has added 10,000 since its double dip to 75,000 last week. It appears to be recovering despite being down around 21% from its peak. It has now returned to the middle of a range-bound channel that began in early March after testing support as analysts eye potential breakout on the upside. We are now closing the downtrend. Let's go through this. Bitcoin successfully retested the multi-month downtrend as support for the first time. Here we go. Bitcoin has daily closed above the downtrend, thus breaking out. Confirmation is underway. However, Bitcoin has previously daily closed above the downtrend but failed its retest. A few of the red circles. Retests need to be successful, and it is in progress. Yeah, that retest needs to get above that 85,000 bucks. So, we're not out of the woods yet, but seemingly there's so many good stories with Bitcoin. There's so many good things that are happening. When the price does break out, I feel like it's going to break out huge. We're going to see God candles, and I coined the term Omega candle. Pardon me, that's not the term. That's Max Kaiser's term. My term is creator candle. So a God candle is a $10,000 spike in one day in the price. A creator candle, and you heard it here first months ago, and hopefully this is the term that sticks because I think it's much more appropriate than the Omega candle, right? Omega means, it's Omega, it's the last letter in the Greek alphabet. It means O, end, right? Just the beginning, folks. The creator candle, baby. $100,000 in one day. I'm going to name one of my shows The Creator Candle. Maybe things will pick up and the term will gain some traction over the internet, and maybe the Bitcoin community will pick it up and start using it, including, first and foremost, the High Priest Max Kaiser. Wouldn't that be cool if he changed his term Omega Candle to Creator Candle and everybody started using that? That would be nice. So, more good news for the biddy. The Bitcoin indicator flashing bullish for the first time in 18 weeks, says analyst who called the May 2021 crypto collapse. So, he nailed it in 2021, and he says the BTC indicator is suddenly flashing bullish. Synonymous analyst Dave the Wave tells his 149,000 followers on X the Bitcoin's weekly logarithmic moving average divergence histogram LMACD indicator is starting to strengthen, signaling a possible rally. The LMACD histogram indicator is designed to signal changes in an asset's trend, strength and momentum. Shrinking bars on the histogram suggest that an asset's trend momentum is weakening. In Bitcoin's case, the histogram's declining red bars may indicate that the market reversal is in sight. Says Dave the Wave, bull markets climb a wall of worry. First strengthening histogram on a weekly Bitcoin chart in 18 weeks. 4.5 months. A weekly MACD itself has not been below the zero line in bear territory since February 2023, i.e. an ongoing bull market. People drop the ball when they ignore the technicals. Next up, he looks at Bitcoin/gold ratio, which is the value of Bitcoin relative to the price of gold. Based on the target's chart, he appears to suggest that Bitcoin-gold ratio may have topped out, indicating that Bitcoin may soon outperform gold. Yeah, the ratio's been separating like this. Gold is, coming way up here, and Bitcoin, they were kind of together, and Bitcoin, there's been this separation. So the biddy surely is going to catch up to gold because gold has relative scarcity and Bitcoin has perfect scarcity, meaning they keep finding gold every year, generally on around 1 or 2% more gold every year. Never more than that. Only once did it go like 4%, and it was a huge deal. And that was decades ago. But it's normally around 1.5% more gold every year they find. So relative scarcity. Bitcoin has pure scarcity. So we know how much is going to be created, and there will never be more created. So it can't be that, now we found another 1.5% Bitcoin. No. Once it hits this 21 million, that's it. And in fact, in the year 2030, I think it's 2030, 99% of all Bitcoin will have already been created. So right now, a fair share of Bitcoin has already been created. If we get back into our chart somewhere in here, I'll find it. There are only, out of the 21 million, there's only 1,148,000 Bitcoins still left to mine. So 19.85 million Bitcoin, here's the number right here, have already been mined. And it's going to take until the year 2140 to mine the rest of this 1,148,000. But by 2030, this number is going to be, I think, 200,000. So there's not going to be much left coming up very soon. And once that happens, everything happens late, right? I'm not sure why this is. It's known that there's only going to ever be 21 million, and almost 20 million are already mined. So further to that, there are approximately 4 to 5 million Bitcoin that have been lost, whether the person lost their keys, whether they lost their hard drive, these original miners that were mining full Bitcoins. I actually know somebody who was mining full Bitcoins back in the day, and they were laughing, ha ha ha, we're ripping these people off, and they were selling their full Bitcoins for like $300, thinking they hit the jackpot, right? And now, obviously, they're like, we should have held this. So 4 or 5 million lost, so we'll call it 16 million total supply, and we've got 20 million already created. Take 4 or 5 million away from that, so really there's about 15 million total Bitcoins out there in circulation. We know Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator, has 1.1 million. Max Kaiser said that he lost 1 million in a boating accident, and then he said he had 1 million. I'm not quite sure. But globally, that's all there is. About 15 million Bitcoin. And that's not even enough for, 1 Bitcoin per billionaire on Earth. Forget millionaire. It's not even 1 Bitcoin per billionaire. So not a lot to go around. And one day, everyone's going to be looking for your bitty. They already are. BlackRock's looking for your Bitcoin. The U.S. government's going to start looking for your Bitcoin. Nation states all around the world are going to start looking for your Bitcoin. And very soon, you're going to be posting your desired price like a fine painting, and they'll be paying it. Dave the Wave also shares a chart that shows Bitcoin has been out of the buy zone of his logarithmic growth curve since it was last trading at around $40,000. The LGC aims to forecast Bitcoin's market cycle highs and lows while filtering out short-term volatility. Back when Bitcoin was half of the price that it is in the latest time, it hit the LGC buy zone. And we, as you see, that would be here, have also now hit the LGC buy zone. Bitcoin, I wish we could zoom in on this a little bit. It's not, let's see what we can get here. Yeah, so here's the zone he's talking about right here. And we're still in that zone. So I feel like the biddy, she will be pumping large very soon, folks. Look long term when investing. Don't think about today and tomorrow. Think about 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And if you take that approach in investing on a whole, you will always end up in the positive. That's why they say buy the fucking dip, right? You buy it when the price is low, you hold on to it, you sell it when the price is high. I've gone on this show in the past talking about Warren Buffett's time frame, time horizon for buying and selling stocks. So he has said publicly that the normal day trader is, buying and selling in hours or days, right? The savvy investor will buy and he'll sell in 2 to 3 years. And Warren Buffett then said, what is his time frame, time horizon? Forever. So as long as it takes to make a profit, that's what he's saying. So if he buys low and the price goes lower, he'll buy more, right? Additionally, if you're buying at a low price, you won't have to hold it as long for the price to go up. He also only holds things that are of value. He only holds like 3 stocks. He said, his company, Berkshire Hathaway, owns a whole bunch, but him personally, it was like, what do you own? Coca-Cola. I think I forget the other 2, but he loves Coca-Cola because it's something that globally always goes up. He likes the backing of the company. He likes everything about it. Now, of course, he has sold all his stock about 2 months ago as if he could foresee all of this happening with the new U.S. government and the tariffs and the stock market crash and everything else. And he basically said, he didn't say anything like that. He didn't say, oh, I'm weary of the new administration. No, he said, there's nothing really that catches my eye that's a good value right now. Everything is selling in multiples of its actual earning. So, with a stock, if a company earns $100 million, their stock is not based on $100 million. Their stock is based traditionally between 10 to 15 or 16 times their earnings. There's stocks out there that are, most of them right now, the average is over 25 times their earning. And there are stocks that are 150 times their earning. So it's really speculation that people, I know Tesla, some of these innovative companies are many times their earnings, and it might be justified, right? Companies like Tesla doing something original, doing something that's, saving the planet and making a pretty good product. Right, innovations. Apple, I believe, is also trading at very, very high multiples of its actual earnings. So these types of speculative companies where there's big potential often will trade more than this, traditional 15, 16 times earnings. But for the most part, this is what you want to be basing your purchases on. Is this company 10 times earnings? Or is it 15 times earning? Or is it 25 times earning? If it's 25, it's overbought. That's it. You can expect a crash, right? Now with the biddy, it's almost the opposite. The more scarce something is, the more it's worth. Which is why, fine wines go up in price, diamonds go up in price, paintings go up in price. Art goes up in price. Things that are scarce, like art, has outperformed everything, believe it or not, in recent years. Why? Because it's very scarce, and there's still a market for it. So the same thing with the biddy. It's very scarce. There's a market for it. Gold, there's a market for it. It's very scarce. So this is why people are putting their money in these things as a store of value. And they're holding them. You don't see BlackRock buying 500,000 Bitcoin and then selling them, right? No, they're not in the business of selling. They're in the business of buying and holding and waiting for the true value of this commodity to come out. As we know, money is abundant, folks. There's $900 trillion of assets around the world. So go out and get your share. It's time that's scarce, so use your time wisely. In terms of spending, always spend less than what you earn, and that way you always stay in the green. If you suddenly start making more for whatever reason, more at your job, or you've got a little side gig, start saving more money. Don't start spending more money. and start saving and investing when you're young, ideally in your teens or 20s, and hopefully you can retire when you're 40 or 45. If you have a great idea, jump on that idea every day. I tell you guys the same thing. Don't wait for tomorrow. Start your idea today. Here, folks, we're on episode 100 today, which is a bit of a milestone. And when you are watching or listening to CryptoNews Global, you, in fact, are the fabric of the show. You're not only watching, you are CryptoNews Global. I here am at a mission to have 500 to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I really want to battle it out with the big boys here and keep bringing everybody the latest and greatest news in Bitcoin around the world. So if you found this show enjoyable, please share, like, comment, and subscribe. It costs you nothing. And we will see you on the next stream, folks. Thanks so much for watching.